our Board of Education meeting scheduled for September 14th. Roll call.
Here.
Here. Thank you so much. At this time, we will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our mission statement.
Our mission statement is to educate, empower, and inspire the whole child.
Now it is time for the Board of Education report. For the Board of Education report, you all know we have been working very hard on, we work very hard on the STEM Center, and one of the ideas was for us to allow our students to be a part of naming our STEM Center. With that being said, we do have a contest going on where our kids will be a part of history in naming our STEM Center. A letter was adopted by our Mrs. Friday, and the guidelines was that the children of each building will have the opportunity to put in names. Each building would then, the top three, based on the principal and our superintendent, will send those 3 names from each school to the Board of Education, and then we will look into the names and then vote on what we would name our STEM Center. This is very exciting. Our kids will have the opportunity to do this. They'll be invited to our grand opening. They'll be able to help cut the ribbon, and we just want to make sure we're keeping our children a part of our growing culture in our district. I do see here that there will be a special consideration for the nominee who resides in Illinois or in our south suburbs. So that means that we name someone where a name is brought up and they're part of our area, that they will get a little special push, I guess, to the top 3. That's just so that we can, grow, I guess, still part of growing our own. So hopefully we have a name soon. They do have until September 30th to choose. And so if you know anybody in your community, make sure you're pushing that out there, that we are looking for our students to name our STEM Center, have them put in their names. I think it may be a good idea if we continue to maybe push it through our Remind, just in case any student hasn't sent it out. But this is very exciting because our STEM Center is scheduled to be open on November 8th. So that is the only thing that we did have for our Board of Education report, and now I'll turn it over to our superintendent. Well, before I turn it over to our superintendent, I do apologize. We're going to open it up for a public forum, which was scheduled to be today for our FY23 budget. We'll do roll call, and then Mrs. Owens will then explain what we're going to do as far as our budget that was scheduled for tonight. So roll call. Yes. So we'll reconvene our budget hearing. I'll turn it over to Mrs. Owens. Everyone was here.
Good evening, Board of Education and community members as well, staff, family as well. The budget hearing for the FY23 budget and the budget approval will be reconvened for a special board meeting scheduled next week. The Board of Education will select the date and time, but it will be reconvened at that time.
We can choose a date in our closed session since this information was new to us. And then when we come out of closed session, then I'll make sure that we announce the date so the public can hear.
Very well, thank you.
Okay. So at this time, I'll make a motion to close our public hearing, and if we have to open it back up just to get the date, we'll do so after closed session. So a motion to close our public hearing, motion? Yes. Thank you, and our regular meeting is still open, and I'll turn it over to our superintendent for our superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. It is a great day for teaching and learning in ESD 159, and we're going to get into all of our announcements and talk about all of the amazing things that we have going on in our district and the amazing opportunities that we are providing for our scholars. At this time, we do have Shagman Lowry. He will come before you all to talk about My PAL Schools.
Good evening, board. How's everyone doing tonight? My name is Shagman Lowry, and I am a community member, a parent of alumni, 2 kids from School District 159. Actually came out of this school called PAL, and I'm a community activist, educator, mentor, coach, you name it all. So, quick story. In 2019, I had a situation where I had a kid in a local school bringing firearms to school in my class. I didn't know he had the firearms, and he was being bullied, and he was talking to one of his buddies in the back of the class, and he was telling him how today was going to be the last day he got bullied. So he got the firearm in the class, and he showed it to his buddy, but unbeknown to the 2 gentlemen in the back, was a young lady sitting in front of him. She heard the whole conversation. She was mortified. So she's trying to get her cell phone out, text her parents, can't get a signal. Trying to call her mom, can't get a signal. So when I left the room, I had a substitute come in and fill in that day for me. And ultimately, 35 minutes later, we found out that student had a gun. We found that student 2.5 hours later with that firearms in his locker, still running the chamber. So ultimately, we had to have an emergency board meeting, emergency teachers union meeting, and then everybody's in the meeting complaining, what can we do, what can we do? So somebody says, hey, if somebody could have just made an app. So from that point on, the wheels got to turning, and I created an app called My PAL Schools. The PAL stands for Personal Alert Levels, and what it does, it allows students to anonymously, or using their name, report any incidents of bullying, cyberbullying, personal crisis, fighting and school threats. So, if that computer is connected to the internet, I'd like to show you a mock-up for the board. And the website will be mypalschools.com/SD159. Strike that piece. Okay. Let me ask the board, anybody's phone connected to their school email address? Okay, it's going to be MyPal, MyPAL, schools with the S.com/SD159. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Short, don't worry about it. I can do it for me. Okay. Okay. district, right, to all your administrators and everybody. So now, Mr. Short, if you can click on My Pal Schools on that last option for me. Now, this is how we'll look for School District 159. Just that simple. The students will come here and they can look at it and we'll try it out. So, Mr. Short, if you can click on right there, bullying and cyberbullying for me. So now, Mr. Short, I'll just put any random information in there. Yes, sir. Now you get a confirmation right there. Dr. Brunson, check your phone for me real fast. Yeah. Oh, everybody, check your phones for me real fast. Check your school email address. All right. Read this and what it say?
It says at the top, demo SD159, my school pals, yellow zone, and then it has all the information that Mr. Short just typed in.
Right. Anybody else get it? Okay, so just that easy. If a student is having a situation just like that, it comes to everybody. So administrators, superintendent, counselors, principals, support staff, just like that, we can keep our children safe. And we also can get our community involved too, because a lot of people don't understand this. Your school incidents is happening Friday, 3 p.m. and Monday morning between 8 and 10 p.m. because incidences carry over from the weekend, and therefore we can be proactive about this situation. We always hear about restorative justice, and now we're being proactive about the situation, and we can have My Pal School set up however you like. Also, there's another feature I'll show you later with the chat. The chat is set up for personal crisis and also school threats. So let's just say a kid's having a meltdown, he's talking about hurting himself, instantly right there the chat is set up across the whole school board and the administrators, if you like, however we want to set it up, and they can talk back and forth. It's like a switchboard. So if the president gets it, and she said, well, I'm kind of busy, she can send it to the vice president. The vice president will get it, superintendent can get it, just like that. And then we document it right there. I'll put some information right there of how the signs will look throughout the school. We put signs throughout the schools, throughout the classrooms. The kids have a QR code, something going on, they can scan it with their phone, even though they're not supposed to have their phones, we know they're going to have them. And they can scan it right there, or they can use their phone books and instantly. So we have it right there. A lot of people ask me about the data on the backside. It's a sheet right there by Mrs. Phillips that'll show you how the data is. So it'll show you everything you need to know. It keeps records. And that, no, and the other one right there are the little flyers that go out to the community, to the parents, to the students, and they know right there. You have it right there. So it'll be little circle flyers that go out to the kids, and it makes them want to support the program. That data Mrs. Phillips is looking at, that is the data, how it looks when I send it to you, superintendent. And then that, like I say, that flyer right there by you, Dr. Brunson, that'll be posted around the schools, in the lunchroom, in the cafeteria, QR codes and everything. Because we can get our community involved. A lot of times you have community members who don't have kids, but they know what school the kids go to. They see anything, they can take a picture, they can record it, they can send it right to us over the weekend so we can be proactive. As soon as we get it, Monday morning, hey, Dr. Brunson and Mr. Lowry had an argument at the bus stop. Let's get them Monday morning and get them some intervention they need. So, do I have any questions?
How many schools do you have currently?
27.
27?
Yes, ma'am. 27. So I have 17 in Chicago. I have school district 163 out here, I have school district 171 out here, and I have a few school districts in Texas because Texas has a rule by the state they have to have an anonymous reporting program for the kids, which Illinois probably needs to adapt pretty soon.
And have you had them use your program so far?
Yes, ma'am. So we had a situation in school district 163 over the summer. Now everybody was out and the young lady was talking about taking her own life. So it was on a Saturday and one of the administrators caught it over the summertime and was reporting it and was able to go ahead and tell the police, get the parent out, and also save that student's life.
Does your program interface with safety programs in other schools?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So what happens is that a lot of times, I don't know, what's the name of that program, Blue Line or something like that? They call it the SWAT team now. So a lot of times when people want to use that safety program, I tell them, hey, that doesn't cover the social emotional. See, a personal crisis, we know that's social emotional. I can cover the safety part of it, but it also covers the social emotional part of it. So if something's going on at home, if you didn't take your meds today, whatever the case may be, we can cover it up right there, and we can get you intervention right there, and it can be anonymous as well. So a lot of times, a lot of schools are having set up bullying and cyberbullying. They go straight to your names, maybe a counselor or two. Personal crisis, that goes to the counselor and maybe a support staff, something like a school therapist, if you have one on, on location. Fight. Principals, assistant principals, deans, school threat goes to everybody. So therefore, we see that blue zone pop up, we know we got to get to it instantly because that's something serious going on.
And we heard the conversation behind her and wasn't able to get a text message.
Oh, no. So that's what made me create the program.
Okay.
So she wasn't able to get it, but what happens with our schools, as long as they can get on the internet, see what happened initially, people were like, oh, is it an app they can download it? No, we don't want it to be an app because they have to get a signal. But as long as we have it web-based, they can always use anything.
That was going to be my question. So we're not going to have any issue with connectivity?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
What is the price point?
The price point would be for the whole school year, the whole district, we're looking at $18,000 and it would be a $500 a month maintenance fee for the whole school year. All the signs, we print them all out, every classroom, depending on how you want to do it. Some schools have it where they have a cutoff point at 4th grade to 8th grade. It's just depending on how you want to do it. If you feel like the second graders are mature enough to use it, we have it right there because it is anonymous to the students, but it's not anonymous to us. So if you need any IP address, Mr. Shorter will have access to that. If you need to go ahead and have an emergency situation, however you want for IP addresses, whether it's to the Madison Police Department, whether it's to the school district, we have it right there.
What does the $500?
That's for maintenance. So every month I update stuff, different databases, give you all your information, pretty much just the maintenance, the upkeep of the site.
Is that negotiable or is that like you're saying?
Yeah, no, that's negotiable. Whenever you're ready.
My question is about training for the staff. Is that price that you quoted us, would that also be you coming in and then giving a presentation to all of the staff so they are aware, and as well as the students?
Well, since my son went to school here, I guess I could look out a little bit since he alumni here. I guess I could go ahead. So I'll come out and I'll go ahead and train the teachers on it. What we'll do is this: I might charge you for the ice cream social and pizza party, because a lot of times when I'll come out with the students, I'll tell you what I get a lot of times with the 8th graders. I'll get the kids say, you know what, this is cool, but Mr. Lowry, this is the snitch app. I say, oh, okay, the snitch app. I said, okay, cool. I said, man, what kind of phone you got? I got the iPhone 14, I love it, okay? I said, well, let's just say we in the meeting, you leave your iPhone 14 right there. Another student come, pick it up, put it in his pocket. I'm standing here the whole time. I asked that young man, how you feel with the iPhone 14 missing? I'm gonna be mad as ever. And I said, what would you do if you saw me standing there watching the whole thing? I'm standing there, I'm wild. I saw what happened. He asked me, hey, Mr. Lowry, did you see what happened? I said, yeah, I saw what happened to it. Well, who took it? I ain't no snitch, bro. So now, that changes that culture of no snitching, because that no snitch culture is great when they ain't your snitch. So a lot of times I'll go ahead and present to the kid, I'll go ahead and break it down for them. Hey, man, look, we gotta help each other out. But you'll be shocked how many kids will report everything that's going on. Kids don't like conflict, most of the time.
Any additional questions?
How long?
Coach, what's happening?
How long has it been up and running?
So I started off initially with my daughter's school when I was piloting it out in like 2019, 2020, and she went to a school called Deer Creek Academy. Eventually they closed down due to the pandemic, so now she's at Cornerstone Christian Academy. First thing I did, ran it through them, let them try it out. They had a small influx of students, so it was pretty smooth. They liked it, and then I just got to it. I went back home. My school district 163. A local school around here, we still got to negotiate the situation. And then my son's school, I got to come here. So I was supposed to finish it up last year here, but some transitions happened, and I didn't get a chance to follow up with 159. But now we're here.
You have any data as far as success versus failure rates?
Oh, absolutely. I have all that. But what I'll do, I'll give it to you, and I'll give it to you redacted. Because a lot of schools don't like to talk about their situation. Some schools have some serious stuff going on, and I'll black it out for you. Or that sheet right there. One of these sheets will have it. Yeah, that'll be it right there. If you pass it down, and it'll let you see how it comes in for you all.
So this is like a dashboard, right? So who would be the keeper of the dashboard? Because would that be me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm asking.
Absolutely.
So it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because this would be district-wide.
Correct. And then what happened, the reports, I mean, you can do it daily, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly, it's your call. I mean, but it keeps the data to the nine. I mean, every kind of graph you want, bar, pie, chart, how you want to, it breaks it down. Every situation, so now, when you have to do reporting to the state, you have all the statistics right there. So when I make the database, I make the database driven. So you have it right there, you print it out, boom, here's how many infractions we have with bullying, cyberbullying, personal crisis fight, and school threats.
So would you be able to send over like the packets for the price points and also be able to send over a packet to show what the dashboard and everything will look over to all of the...
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That won't be an issue.
Also, is there a trial period? Like, do you have a trial run?
Trial already started.
Oh.
The trial already started. I just need to know how you all want to structure the school. So like I said, if you want to start from 4th grade, 5th grade, all the way to 8th grade, we'll pick it out. Because like I said, I forgot how the schools work. Maya Angela, I forgot what, Maya Yates, correction, Maya Yates, I forgot what grades those go to. However you all want to structure it out.
How long, I mean, is it a 30-day trial, 2-week trial? What is
Oh. Look, I'm going to take care of y'all. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll just send over information. Thank you.
Any additional questions, anyone?
You want to try?
Yeah, Deb.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Shag, thank you so much. We'll be in contact.
Okay.
I know you'll be in contact with our superintendent. So
Sounds like a winner. Thank
All
you,
right,
thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, because we do know that safety and security is everyone's responsibility. So thank you so much. All right, so we're going to move on with our agenda. The next thing on the agenda is our Board of Education retreat, which is scheduled for October 22nd and 23rd. That is a Saturday and a Sunday. And part of what we're going to focus on is thinking about fulfilling our mission as a school district, strengthening our relationships, re-energizing and re-engaging our board, review roles and responsibilities, and strategic planning, among other things. But that's really the point of our retreat. And it's also thinking about our own relationship that we have, especially for me being the new superintendent. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on, and I think there's going to be some great things that come out of that.
Okay, just so they know, we'll also be learning about the superintendent evaluation.
Yes, there's a lot of, the superintendent evaluation, that will be part of all of everything that will be happening that weekend. So the next on our agenda is our 8th grade Covenant Harbor trip, and that is going to be scheduled for October 20th and 21st, Thursday and Friday. And Covenant Harbor is an outdoor education trip for our students, and it is, Covenant Harbor is in Wisconsin, Lake Geneva. It's a fantastic opportunity for our students to learn to work together, team building, and just work on leadership skills. So we're really looking forward to providing that opportunity for our students, as well as we are trying to start this year to make this part of the 8th grade experience. I'm very excited about it. The next on the board agenda is, anyone has any questions? Sorry.
I
proponent of giving our children whatever we can. I find 35,000 caught me off guard. I have a few other concerns that I've kind of gotten wind of, and that would be that there are some people who are concerned about the position that it would place them in. And because I have family who's kind of suffered through something like that, it caught my ear. And the concern is we have 12, 13, and 14-year-olds who would be the persons that would be in the rooms with them. The concern that I have is, I don't know that it could happen, but we can't rule it out. And that could be that maybe something could happen and someone could get blamed for it. It could change the trajectory of their life. So I want to make sure that we're covering everything if we're going to seriously consider moving forward with this, where those who would be there with the children would feel comfortable doing that, because it is an overnight situation.
It is indeed an overnight experience for our students. So one of the things that I explained in meeting with the teachers is that I have personally done this over 10 years with students. My previous district in which I was a principal, they have done it for 25 years, and Covenant Harbor has been in business for over 50 years. So tens of thousands of students have come through Covenant Harbor to experience this. And I think, the issues are valid issues for sure. I think the one thing that's really important to me, and I'm sure for everyone on the board in our community as well, we know safety and security is really important. We would not put anyone in a situation, I would certainly not bring something to the board that I think would be something for them to worry about student safety and security. The issue is, this is something that we have to work with our students about understanding this experience and how important it is for us as a school district to provide the best experiences for our students. Like I said, there are tens of thousands of kids who have come through there, and I have personally gone and been there. So, but the concerns are valid.
With your experience with it, how are those persons who are chaperoned selected, and what is the selection process that we are considering for this district?
So the selection process for the people who are going there are staff. So there are staff who are the 8th grade staff, and then any additional staff from Cole and Powell that would like to go. And so that's how they are chosen to attend.
We received a letter from, via email, and there were some things that one of the staff members had submitted. Were those things, those, whatever, what it was, were they addressed? And if so, if possibly we can get some feedback in terms of how they were addressed and what they said.
Yeah, they were addressed. So, in full transparency and honesty, when something is new, people, are hesitant. And I met with the union today about this issue as well. And the one thing when I met with the union, and to be very frank and honest about it, is I don't want us to not allow our students to have opportunities that other school districts provide their kids, because because every single issue or concern that people have can be addressed. So I did address those, and if someone doesn't feel comfortable going, they have been given an out. They do not have to attend. They do have to come to work because it is a work day, but we don't want to not give our students opportunities that other school districts, other school districts have,
I agree with you.
Yep.
I believe in providing these opportunities.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure we cover all of those.
Yes,
things.
ma'am. I met with the union today, this afternoon, and we did talk about those. Dr. Streeter and Mr. Brown have met with them. I met with the 8th grade team, and we will have a family meeting as well for the families to be able to ask all the questions and to address all the concerns that they have, as well as working with the students so that the students understand what the expectations are. And so that we can make sure that we are covering all bases, so that everyone, this can be an opportunity for our students.
So can we, previously, my children, alumni of Colin Powell, they went to DC. They were provided a sleeping chart, who was in
Yep.
their rooms.
Yep.
We were provided with, what chaperone that was to that particular group of children. So if we can do that so that everybody have a little peace of mind.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, going
Yes,
forward, so
yes.
we know who's with who and what section is what section, however you want to do it. But
Absolutely.
it made me feel a lot better.
Mhm.
And of course, I did download Life 360, so I was on But it does,
Yes,
it will make
yes.
it a lot better for the
So, to your point, yes, that's why we'll have a parent meeting, because we will have all of the chaperones, who will be assigned to what students, and all of those things. And all of the sleeping quarters, they're cabins. So, there are female teachers with female students, male teachers with male students, like all of that kind of stuff. And we provided the teachers with a schedule, we provided an agenda, a schedule, and we provided them with what to pack, so they can get a kind of a full understanding of what it would be like. And then, yes, once we get the approval, then I'll work with their team to get all of those other things, the other logistics, and then we'll have a parent meeting so we can address all the parent concerns as well.
Are we charging the parents?
I think that's the one thing that we talked about, that we weren't,
Okay.
that we were not, that we would cover that cost, so that we would not have some students left out because they could not go because of that. I think that was our initial conversation.
Well, not attending, she's not saying attending, she's saying for the kids' cost. This would be something that the district will cover, that's what she's saying.
Okay, I thought I saw $131 per student, $174 per staff. So there is a cost for the students, is that right?
There is no cost. We just have the breakdown of what it costs us. And that initial cost was for 2.5 days. We are now down to 1.5 days, so it's much cheaper. But it also, that covers room, board, all the meals, all the activities, and everything that comes with that. Transportation would be something that would be separate. Because we will have to, transportation is something that's separate.
So I don't think that's very expensive, since I paid $1,000 per child to go to DC. So if it's $231, I don't think that the community would not participate. I think a lot of children would still go.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
Well, something we can talk about in
Could
closed
we
session.
poll it and see?
We
maybe,
could.
possibly?
We can talk about it in closed session. I think it's important
Okay.
to have a conversation. But I do want to make it so that we don't have students that are left out, for sure. So.
This company, you're telling us, just what we heard tonight, you did say you had a conversation and we had decided that it wouldn't be charged to the parents?
Initially, that was a conversation that we did have.
With who?
When we talked about, when I did bring this up, that which is
Where was it?
that was, I don't know, 2 months ago. 2 months ago.
Okay, so from that time to now, we only know what you're saying. What about this company? We have people come and give presentations to us all the time about the services they want to render. Where is that with this particular prospect?
Okay. I mean, if you want me to do that, I'm sure I can call Covenant Harbor and have someone come. Now time is just kind of the essence. Because we're scheduled to go in a few weeks. We would not have we would have a board meeting between then on the 14th, and then they would go the next week.
Or could they come when you have your family meeting?
We could do that.
I think that'd be the best place for it, because the family would be there, the parents would be there.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, it's no difference then, like she said, our Washington DC trips, we didn't have the representation from them to do something like this. It's just best recommendation for what's best for our kids. I understand that you're doing your best. I think this would be a great learning curve and something different in our district, so.
The kids had a ball, and I
the goal is for this to be just kind of what 8th grade students get. We used to, in my previous district, we did it for our 5th graders and we did it for our 8th graders. We did the 5th graders because they were moving on to middle school, and then the 8th graders. And it was just, in my previous district, we did it for over 25 years. You know, and I always went up for a day and spent the entire day zip lining and high ropes and canoeing with the kids. It's just a great opportunity for us to provide our students.
Now, my only question would be, piggybacking to Mrs. Franklin, is the volunteers. So we have the staff, so we know we have enough staff to go for each student. And then if anyone wanted to volunteer, would there be some form of like a background check as a parent that wants to go or something like that? Can we make sure that we are doing?
We would have to decide if we want parents to go. In the past, we did not. We only used our staff.
Okay, that's perfect. Because I don't know if the staff are just saying they want to go up there, declining. But if we get to the point where we know we don't have enough staff and that's a direction we want to go, we just want to make sure that they have to be
For sure.
background check and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So-
Any more questions?
Again, from what I'm hearing, it sounds as if the staff is hesitant to go. How many are in? How many are out?
So
How many do you need?
it always seems like there are more people who don't want to do something. The number that I have is 2 that are hesitant. 2 out of the entire 8th grade team. I've even had other people who want to volunteer to go in their place. We probably will have more people than we need who want to actually attend. So
And the number of students at this point is how many?
220.
220?
And now we would take up 10 cabins if I'm not mistaken.
And so each chaperone would be responsible for how many students?
Well, those are all the logistical things. We're gonna try to make sure that we have, and remember, we have chaperones and then we have the people who work for Covenant Harbor. So when we get to Covenant Harbor, there are enough people who are assigned to the group. And so there's usually 2 to 3 adults per like 20 kids, because it would be like 1 of our people and then 2 of theirs. So the ratio is pretty high.
Okay, those are things that I really would like to know, like before we're expected to make a decision on it tonight. Those are the kind of things I'd like to be hard and fast.
Okay.
So we can just finish discussing those things in closed session.
Yes. Okay, so the next item is the Board of Education meeting change update. The date that we originally had actually fell within on our during the week of spring break, and so we're proposing moving our Board of Education meeting date to April 19th. So that's the proposed date, and we can talk about that in closed session. So, any questions? So on to item letter F, the Golden Apple Foundation. So the information is in your packet, if you go to that information. So the Golden Apple Foundation is and this goes with our Grow Your Own program. One of the things that we're trying to address is the teacher shortage. And one of the things that we want to make sure that we are creating pathways and opportunities to ensure that we have all of our classes staffed by highly qualified teachers. So we want to enter into an agreement with Golden Apple. Golden Apple is a foundation where they have Golden Apple scholars, and we would be the only school district within a 25-mile radius of working with the Golden Apple Scholarship. And so they have students, teacher candidates, that they put through school, and once they are finished with school, they would be placed in our school and they will become our teachers. We get the first, you want to say, bite of the apple, if you will, first choice to be one of the school districts that they would work with. The only thing that it cost us is if we hire any of the student teachers that they would place with us. And it will cost us $5,000 for each of those teachers. That $5,000 pays for, it goes back to Golden Apple so that they can provide scholarships for potential teachers to go to school for free. If we do not hire anyone, we do not pay anything. So it really is a great opportunity for us because there's no other school district within a 25-mile radius that is working with them. They work with Chicago, and they work with some North Shore school districts and some school districts that are out west. And so that information is in your packet. We are trying to create a strong they have a strong K-12 teacher recruitment pipeline. So that's one avenue that we're putting together and working with the Golden Apple Foundation. Yeah. For sure. Yes.
I'm thinking, can you explain what the $2,500?
I'll have to go through it. Here. Okay, so right here it says district partner commitments. It says work with Golden Apple to find mutually agreeable times to host scholar events at the district. So we would actually host a welcome to our school district, and so their scholars who are about to graduate, they would come to our district. We would, tell them all of the wonderful things about our school. And so then the next thing is we'll provide materials to promote community to the scholars. All of this is kind of part of that fee. And then we agree to provide $5,000 upon hire to the Golden Apple scholar, provided through Golden Apple Communication, with a $25 payment each of the next 2 years for ongoing mentoring supports. So remember, one of the things that is really important about hiring is also retention. And so for 2 years, they provide intensive mentoring support to help keep those students with us. And so there's at least a 2-year commitment for whoever we hire to stay with us. And so that's part of that, so that we can make sure, because the reason why teachers leave is because they don't feel supported. And so we're also working to strengthen our own mentoring program that we have. So I've been working with Mr. Jensen and Mrs. Fields have been working with them. We're trying to make sure that all of the things that we already have, that we are making stronger, but then we're also trying to create some really good pathways and partnerships.
So double check, I'm sorry.
Yes, no problem.
5,000 if we hire, plus an additional 2,500 per year.
For 2 years. So that's basically paying for a mentor for them, yes.
Okay. So we're looking at 10,000 for every 2 years.
Yeah. If we decide to hire them. So there'll be student teachers in our building, and we can make the determination as to whether or not we think they have high quality and if we want to keep them.
Okay.
Yeah, but the great thing about it is we get first choice for our school district to be where those young people are placed. And like I said, within a 25-mile radius, we're the only school district that will be working with that. So the next one is our Grow Your Own program that I worked in partnership with Mrs. Owens. And this one is to encourage our own people in our own district to go back to school and then come here and actually teach for us. So there's two levels to it, if you will, an A track and a B track. So we are now really working to create partnerships with our all of our state universities. We're working on that right now. So basically, if say U of I, that's my alma mater, so ILL. Anyway, so U of I, if they decide to have their student teachers come here to teach, these student teachers here, we would actually pay them as if they were a long-term sub. Because the hardest thing for a lot of people to do is to stop working or stop doing a lot of things to do student teaching. They would then work for us. They would sign a contract with us, and they would have to give us 2 years of service at minimum. Now, if they are already they're internal and they already work for us. So say for instance, we have a paraprofessional, a teaching assistant that goes back to school. You know, the hardest thing is to then do student teaching because oftentimes you have to resign from your position and then you lose benefits. So we're proposing that they get paid like a long-term sub, keep their benefits, and then again, they sign a contract with us that they have to give us at least 2 years as a teacher here. You apply?
I love the idea of that, but what if
They have to pay us back.
how do we guarantee you know that's going?
I knew that was coming. They signed a contract, and the contract states if they do not pay us back, we'll get our money somewhere. I mean, unfortunately, legally, because when they sign it, it's a legally binding document. We already talked to Chris about it and about how to do that. So, yeah, I knew that was your next question. I got you. Yes.
So actually, we have 3 years with them. The 2
Yes.
years they signed for, and then the 1 year as a long-term sub. So that's 3 years of employment we would get.
Correct.
Oh, and going back,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll let you finish this.
No, that's it. That's it.
I wanted to talk, when we were talking about this retreat, the getaway,
Mm-hmm.
it is for how many days?
1.5 days.
1.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a full day and 1 night?
Full day, 1 night, and then a half day. They leave there. They'll leave there at about 1 o'clock and then come back to school, and then go home. So it's a Thursday and a Friday.
Okay, because the letter I saw,
Initially had 2, yes.
yeah,
That was part of the compromise with the teachers. So like I said, this has been one thing, as important as this is, we still have to work on this collectively to make it successful. And so, yes, it is 1.5, and that was part of the conversation that we had with the union and the teachers, and that was a compromise.
and what are the sleeping accommodations?
It's Covenant Harbor is their cabins. So within a cabin, there are rooms in a cabin. So there will be like 4 kids in 1 room, so they're bunks. And then the adults are in the same cabin, but they're in their own kind of space. But then they're required to have rotations to make sure the kids are sleeping and all of those types of things. And then it's the same as when they go to DC. They're in a hotel, but they're on that floor. The teachers are in a room, their own rooms, and they have to monitor the kids. It's just a
This
cabin.
would be our teachers during the rotation, or
Absolutely.
the staff during the rotation?
No, our teachers. Yes.
What about, what role would the staff from that covenant?
They do not handle the nighttime. That is our responsibility. They are there to be with the students the entire day and to take care of all of the activities, canoeing, the hiking. At night, they have s'mores, storytelling. There's a lot of high ropes, zip lining. There's just a bunch of activities that they have. And I think I provided you with the agenda that you could see like what their whole day would be like.
That's up around Lake Geneva?
It's in Lake Geneva. Yep.
Sounds like snowball when you get to high school.
Yeah. I mean, I do a hike. I show you the video of me flying by on the zip line. The kids were chanting and stuff. It was pretty fun.
So they're getting an opportunity before high school, because it sounds just like when you're in high school, you're in the snowball, and you all go off into the cabins or woods, they teach you all this how to bond.
Yeah, it's a bonding. It's a bonding experience.
And it's a Christian base, so it sounds exactly what I did when I was in high school.
So if we end up, and it's more than just 2, and we don't have enough staff, what are our options then?
I can guarantee you we'll have enough if I gotta go.
You are the one person though.
Yeah, but at this point it was 2, and they were kind of impossible. And then, people, it's just normal. My whole cabin to go. I promise you, the kids are gonna go, because yes, my whole cabinet will go. That's how serious we are.
The short said he would even go.
Yeah, that's how serious. We don't want to not provide our students with the opportunities they deserve if it's 1 or 2 people.
I really would like a presentation though. I'd like to know exactly what it is.
Okay.
but there's a video.
Yeah, I provided all that information, the video, all that.
I'd like to see what that
Okay.
system.
Any other current questions? All right, so at this point, we are at letter H, and now we will have Mrs. Fields to talk about educational epiphany.
Good evening, everyone. Board members. So today I would like to talk to you about a phenomenal program called Educational Epiphany. If you were here at the opening professional development for our teachers and staff, Dr. Dickey presented on Educational Epiphany. And what it is it is a literacy-based program that infuses literacy across all content areas. It is very, very in-depth. And what it teaches students is from kindergarten through 8th grade, everything from decoding. He provides anchor charts, professional development to administrators, professional development to all teachers. The difference between Dr. Dickey's program with Educational Epiphany and other programs is that you literally get absolutely everything from teacher anchor charts, plans, the training, coaching in the moment, as well as individual materials for each student. Other curriculums, you have to figure out how to implement the curriculum. The difference between theirs and Dr. Dickey's is that it takes the guesswork out. So, and he's right there alongside you. It is evidence-based. He's moved various states by huge percentages, double digits, because it's culturally responsive. We are in a different day and age with educating children. He has shifted with the times. That is why the program works. He is in the moment with you, developing you. The teachers are so excited about this program because they want to get better. They want students to succeed. They don't know how to do it. Leaders don't know how to be instructional leaders. That is why our district has not moved. Educational Epiphany is a game changer for us. This is one of the most exciting programs that I've seen in a long time because of the enthusiasm of the staff. That is half the battle. When I am going into schools and they're pulling on me to say, when are we getting our program? I know that this is something we have to do now because it's going to change the lives of children. And it's a different level of accountability because they go above and beyond because it is evidence-based, because the research has been done, and because the program works. Am I missing anything about it? Culturally relevant libraries is provided so the children see themselves. The teaching of writing, the teaching of vocabulary, decoding, prefixes, suffixes, phonemes, phonemic awareness. I mean, it goes granular. So our students learn the understanding of language development, where the words come from. So when they're presented with different passages, informational texts, they can figure out the meaning because they've been taught to decode words. No other program offers that. That is why it's a game changer for us. This program, again, we would not only receive the professional development, the workshops, and the services, but the administrators will be trained as well. Critically important, because if they don't know what to look for and how to sustain the development, it falls away, it falls by the wayside. We want something that's sustainable, that in the moment, they're being developed, but they're being held accountable, but it's something that they want to do. Anything that they want to not hard to hold them accountable for doing it. So I hope that you guys consider approving Educational Epiphany. I am certain that you will be so pleased with the results that we receive from this program.
You said it provides planning, so like every teacher typically has to do planning for his or her classroom. This would do it for them?
It doesn't do it for them. What it does is teach them how to teach in a more granular level, and that is in a culturally responsive level that the teachers have now, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, they've shifted to the utilization of computers. This is not that. They teach them how to use strategies like the gradual release of responsibility, where they are explicitly teaching students things and gradually releasing the responsibility to the students. They're modeling for the students, but he's teaching them in the home. His training is very intense. So you're not just given a curriculum and given some little boring workshops and then expected to go and teach it. It's exciting, it's engaging. He's going in to observe you in the moment and give feedback, and no curriculum does that after we purchase it. They just literally give them the program, give a couple of boring workshops, seriously, and then expect for the teachers to implement it. This isn't that.
What classes?
Yes.
What classes is the curriculum covering?
It is a literacy-based program, but it's cross-curricular, so it's embedding literacy in science, social studies. It's actually called the Science of Reading, this program. Educational Epiphany, the art of science and reading.
Mrs. Palmer was there during his presentation. So.
And it's science and reading.
It's a little. Yes. So one of the things that we thought about doing is we thought about the professional development time that we do already have for teachers, but one of the other ways that we do have planning time that weekly, twice a week, we're allowed to do with teachers. So what we're considering doing is embedding the training during those times. So we have to get a little creative because we don't want to overextend ourselves. So that is something that I thought about, because I do know that their time is precious, and sometimes they don't want to stay. But I don't think we're going to have a problem with people staying for this one. Not this one. Even if we do say, okay, it will require some evening development.
Yeah, what we're trying to make sure that we do is we use the current structures that we do have, but then I think the one thing that we are focused on is besides the development of our teachers, is the development of our leaders. Because this will also be part of that. So, to your point, Mrs. Palmer, the principals and the leaders will also be trained so that they can also do the feedback and the support. Because what we don't want to, just like what Mrs. Fields was talking about, sustainability. In order for us to move our district where we want it to be, and we're so focused on making our leaders be the best that they can be in our buildings, that's how you get your biggest bang for your buck. So we're going to use the current structures that we do have, and then we're going to be working with our principals and the leaders that we do have so that we can improve their capacity so that they can be in there giving coaching and helping the teachers. So that's the game changer part of this.
So when we do their planning, I know when we did negotiations, in the contract it states that we can't take like 20 minutes from them or something like that. So we just want to make sure that we don't interfere with that.
Yeah, we already have that built in. So they have twice a week where they have planning time as teams, and that does belong to the district. That time belongs to us. And so that's why thanks for asking that, we're going to be using the current structures that we have, and then we might have a few after school things that need to be done, but we're going to do our best to not have to have that and use the current structures that we have.
Well, I'm sure they will want to get better because contracts are now performance-based versus just automatic 3%, so
Yes.
that would be smart.
So I have a question. Would this curriculum be in addition to what we already have in place? Or would this be, are we getting rid of anything?
Great question. No, it is a supplement. So it is infused in the curriculum.
Okay.
It's just teaching them great teaching strategies and infusing I would say, really the art of actually teaching, because they've gotten away from it. And the difference from what he offers than other programs is that it's culturally responsive. So it's to meet the needs of our students. He tailors it to each district. So it's not like a one-size-fits-all. It's tailor-made for your particular district. So the program that he's developed is specifically designed to meet the needs of our students. Staff.
I can tell you a couple of districts. I know there are a few around us. Maywood is another one that is, similar district to ours, as well as I know he's working in Kankakee. I'm trying to think of all of the places that are like near us, but he works nationally. Memphis is one of the biggest districts that he's worked and moved. So I like to use that one because if you can move a district like Memphis, which is one of the lowest performing in the nation, and going into there, teaching and training their teachers and supporting them, he was able to move them. Now they are not one of the lowest performing, they're one of the highest.
So this proposal is for 2 years, 2022-23 school year, this one, and then next year. So do you foresee that we would need it beyond that? So it's $305,000 for this year, it's $308,000 the next year. So is this something that we need to do every year? Because we do have some turnover, but it wouldn't be the whole staff. So do you think he could come back and just do the new ones, or do we do everybody every year?
I definitely believe that it's negotiable beyond that, but I think that that's the reason why we want to train the administrators, because we want to sustain high-quality administrative teams as well, and that's why it was critically important to Dr. Brunson that we incorporate the training of her cabinet and my team as well. The teaching and learning team is a part of that training as well, so that way, even if we have turnover, the current staff would be able to train. Ideally, I really wanted 3 years, because I know what the research says about the sustainability and having 3 years worth of training. But Dr. Brunson said, let's try it for 2, and 2 is great. And if we could extend it beyond that, it would be amazing, because I think 3 years, it would be phenomenal. I know that we'll be a top-tier district.
When you're talking about it, it's going to do great things. So if we put it in place this year and we see the growth, then I think that was so.
That was my thinking. The reason why I said definitely 2, and let's see the results, and then we'll be able to see what we will need after that.
You said this is tailor-made for our district. What went into tailor-making it? What was done? Who was...
So the Educational Epiphany offers a variety of services. And so the way that they structure your proposal is based on the needs of the district. So what I utilized was the school district's current data, as well as principal performance ratings and things of that nature to determine what we needed.
Okay, principal performance. How about teacher performance? How does that fit in there?
That was critically important. That was the first thing. That was, we weren't going to do it without teacher development.
And then looking at the students, I'm just trying to see how they tailor-made it for us, because you may say, we're just like some other school district, but we're not, we're unique. So I just want to know what went into structuring it specifically for us.
But I think the youth is for some of the classes have libraries, for example. So instead of, us saying, well, we would provide libraries for 1 or 2 classes, we wanted everyone to to the resources. So when I say tailor-made, I mean really making sure that we have access to all of the resources, the reproducibles, the posters, the training for teachers, the training for administrators, and not eliminating components of it that would leave our children behind or wouldn't give us the
So, to round out that answer to that question, to your point, this is the reason why we were excited about bringing the program here, is because most curriculum or supplemental, or they'll say this is what we offer. For us, what we really wanted is for them to see ESD 159 and our unique needs that we have. Because otherwise, I didn't want it. I was like, well, if you're looking at our district, our needs, our students, then what can you provide us? We don't want the same thing that you would provide a whole nother district, which needs are different, students are different. We want to make sure, because if we're not responsive to the actual needs they have, we're just doing what other people do, what other districts do, and we want to make sure that you all are going to see in 2-3 years, really see the gains that, and given the experience that our students deserve. All right, thank you, Mrs. Fields. So now we have Power School customization. Dr. McCoy.
Thank you, Davis. Good evening, members of the board. How you all doing this evening? I'm going to just discuss with you an effort to maximize communication in regards to transportation and also just consolidation as well. Currently, as a district, we've been utilizing Power School as far as storing and housing our information. And so upon being here now, going into my second month, I just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to improve the communication channels in regards to transportation. And so that's the pickups and drop-off information. This school year, we mailed out that information to our parents, but as you know, sometimes things can get lost in the mail, and so we want to make sure that we're utilizing something where everyone would have access, such as Power School. Parents can log into the portal and they'll be able to see the transportation information as it relates to their students. And so when they log into the parent portal, of course they'll be able to see attendance, grades, their contact information that's in the system, but now they'll also be able to see their transportation. So it's a bus icon that'll be visible to our parents. They can simply click on the bus icon and they'll be able to see the pickup location as well as the drop-off location, along with the pickup time and the drop-off time. How the work is, the transportation company sends us an Excel sheet of all of this information. I work closely with our technology specialists to make sure that this information is uploaded into the database. She already has done this process. Now it's just a matter of getting approval so that it can be visible to all of our parents. I can see it on my end right now, but we want to make sure the parents can see it. And this is that piece of the Power School customization that's presented before you all.
So the form that's in here, is that the total amount that it will cost the district to have it? Is that accurate, or is that just an example?
Yeah, so the customization piece, if you look at the, I believe that initial term, the maintenance and support, which is $1,015.88, that is that customization piece as it relates to the transportation. Everything else is us continuing our subscription with Power School.
Is this something that you can make sure parents are aware of when they come to the parent-teacher conferences. Is that this week? On the 23rd, because some of them might need some little hand-holding if they're not so technology savvy, technically, whatever what the word is, technology savvy. Maybe there can be a table where someone will be able to assist them in getting signed in and figuring it out. Maybe we can consider that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we want to make sure that our parents have the login capability where they can go into the parent portal. That'd be the first step, and then I've already began working with the team as far as being able to provide support to make sure parents know how to navigate the system.
I don't have it in front of me right now. How much did you say this will cost?
In totality, $6,640.88. But keep in mind that customization piece as it relates to the transportation is that extra $1,000 that's already embedded in their total cost. So we currently have Power School as a district right now, but it's going to be an extra $1,015.88 to add that transportation piece so that parents can simply just click on that bus icon and then they can just see the routing information.
And that was how often? Extra $1,000 one time?
So right now, this is a year-long contract for that customization as it relates to transportation, and everything else, as far as Power School, this is a duration of 3 years. And I know this is something that the district has recently adopted when it comes to Power School. So we just want to continue on utilizing the platform.
So once next year comes, because everyone knows their students' bus route by now, is this something that we can start for the next school year, considering that we've already mailed it all out, so that we won't be paying two prices? Because basically we already paid for stamps and everything like that. Parents already know everything. With this contract being for this year, we don't necessarily need to pay $1,000 just for it to show what they already know.
Yeah. And I understand that. And so one thing that happens is we get students to enroll on an ongoing basis. At least they'll be able to see the route information right there, even though we are communicating the routes to the parents. But if it's already in Power School and they'll have access to this information, then it'll be right there for them right now as we have our newly registered students coming in. So I think that's important. And then if there's a situation, for example, maybe that parent won't be able to pick up the student, and they have someone else going to pick up the student, and they want to share that information, it just adds another access point. And so that's why I think it's critical that we have it now, and then you all can also be in tune with the parents to know hey, how is that feature, and then by next year we can decide if we want to do this again.
Does it provide notification buses are running late?
That part it does not do. It's more so just related to making sure we're communicating out the pickup and drop-off times along with the locations. I know we currently utilize bus bulletin, which is something we work with the transportation department, where parents will receive an alert, the school buildings receive an alert if there is a situation where the bus is late. Of course, sometimes this is difficult to have because things happen on the fly, but I've been working with the bus company to make sure that the bus bulletin is going out.
We all need to be updated on that then.
And then you are definitely new to our district, so a lot of times, because I put the kids through here too, we get some of that information, like the parent portal, all that information, we typically get that after school starts. So just something to think about, is there a way that we can make sure that information is available to parents prior? Yeah, during registration or something.
Yes, and so one of the key things is making sure our parents have access to the portal, and so we'll be able to give them the information so when they are registering, they at least have access to the portal, and then we should be getting those bus routes almost around that same time, at least as we get closer to the school year. So at least they'll be able to have the access so they know Power School, but then the transportation, as we get that information closer as we move to the school year, we'll be able to have it right there. So I'm fielding those phone calls, following up with parents. If we have to go to the bus stops, we will, to make sure those buses are coming. So it's all about support. We want to make sure safety is at the crust of everything we do, and we want to be known as the best district for that.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. McCoy.
Thank
So, you're welcome. We will move on to letter J, and that is the Press Policy 109, the final read. You received this 30 days ago as required. And all we're going to do in closed session is for us to discuss or just to approve. And so you have that information in your packet. There are several things, so general school administration, instruction, and so this is part of the 5-year review. And so once we approve it, then it will go in and become press policy. All right, so now, one of the things that I every month have been saying, well, we don't have students, so I don't have an update. So we do have an update for attendance. Everyone knows that our goal is 95% attendance. We're getting there. Very proud to say that we are very close, and in some of our schools we have met that mark. So Colin Powell for the month of August was 91%. Yates was 92%. Armstrong 95. Seton Prairie 95. Woodgate Elementary 95, and Woodgate Pre-K EC was at 92%. It has been a joy to be at all the schools in the morning and get a chance to help kids off the bus, to meet parents, and to really see and make sure that our kids are getting here on time. So those are our attendance, our student attendance for the month of August. But remember, 95% is our goal, and we're all of the teachers, the principals, administration, we're working really hard to make sure our students are getting to school every day and on time. So our enrollment, does anyone have any questions? Our enrollment as of the end of August was, we are at 1705 at the end of August. We know that there are students enrolling every day, and so that is where we are. We know Woodgate has 315, Neil Armstrong is at 286, Colin Powell is at 621, Yates 255, and Seton Prairie at 228 for a total of 1705. And I don't see Chuck here, so I will talk about the STEM update. Very exciting news. Our rover came in today, so it's similar to the rover that the NASA has as it moves about the Mars. That came in today. I have pictures, I'll share those with you. That was delivered today. And we have a furniture update. So excited. October 17th, the week of October 17th, our furniture will be here and the install will begin. We were told yesterday, and I was so excited to be able to share that today. So we are very, very close to making our date, which is November 8th, am I correct? Which is National STEM Day. So that is, at this point, we are on track to open on time.
So it's election day too. But so if, at our next meeting, since that's when the furniture comes, can you have an update on what our curriculum would look like from our?
Yes, I've been working with the STEM director, and we have been putting together some things. Actually, what I'm going to do is give you all kind of a draft prior to that, so you can look at it and then be able to ask. Because I've been working with them. We're also working with District 163, looking at some of the amazing things they're doing in their district as it relates to STEM. You know, there's always great ideas, and then we're putting together kind of a draft to give you all so that you'll know the offerings and kind of the time and the things like that. So yes, I'll have that for you way before our next meeting. All right, so Mrs. Owens, here comes the exciting part of the meeting.
While Mrs. Owens.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, while Mrs. Owens is coming, if
Yes.
Tuesday, November 8th is election day, trying to open our STEM center.
Yes, that was the date. There was really, we could change it.
And we typically are a polling place. We might need to revisit that.
I just
Talk about
found
it,
out at
Yes.
RTO, and it was like November 8th was the day, and then it's election day. Only thing would be trying to have it early, but
Or the next Monday.
yeah.
We can talk about that Tuesday, because I saw that and I was like, I'm not sure if that's what we want to keep it, but for sure, we can talk about that maybe the next Monday instead. Oh, shoot, yes it is.
That's why we chose November 8th, we just didn't realize that it was.
Yeah, this year
But
is
it's just ribbon cutting, so we don't necessarily have to move in, but we could do a quick ribbon cutting celebration and then go back to elections. It's not like everybody does it at the same time anyway.
I think the idea behind it was, we did bring up. Your microphone. Thank you. Sorry. I think the thought process behind it was that people will already be servicing the community to vote, and they would have an opportunity while they're out to stop on by and see it.
Right, I remember it was some reason why we said that.
Okay, good evening once again, everyone. I did prepare a presentation, so I'll go through that. It's kind of dark, but the SSP, which is a supplemental savings plan, is, it was TRS put this together, and it has to be adopted by all school districts. And that's in accordance with the laws and statutes that we have. And so I wanted to make sure that we took care of this because it has to be done no later than September 30th. And this supplemental savings program is a 457B retirement savings plan that is offered to our teachers, of course our teachers that qualify for it, that are members. And it's not a 403B plan, but it is a 457B plan. And it's optional for our TRS members, so for the teachers, it's not mandatory for them, it is optional. But the district has to adopt it so that they can have that option. And so tonight it's on the agenda for approval of the resolution that has to take place in order for this to be rolled out. Any questions regarding this TRS supplemental savings plan? Okay. The next on the list, we had a site project bid that took place, and it was supposed to originally be on September 1st, but we moved it to September 6th because we had some bidders that, was going to come out. And so we've gone through this process. This is a rebid. This is our third time going out. We have not had as much success in the past. And so we wanted to go back out again because the strike has ended, and we want to try to get those playgrounds taken care of so our students can enjoy outside with their new equipment that we have on site. So we broke the project up into 3 parts this time, with stronger emphasis on the fact that it can be bid separately. And so we had package A, which was just all the work related to the main entrance drives at Marty Yates and Neil Armstrong to fix the concrete and the asphalt. Then bid package B was for all the work related to the playgrounds at all 4 of our elementary schools: Marty Yates, Woodgate, Seton Prairie, and Neil Armstrong. Package C was for all the work together, A and B. So the bidders came out. We had 5 listed, but only 3 actually submitted bids. And so tonight, TRIA has recommended the lowest responsible bidder that we go with bid package B, and that the company RL Soho General Contractor be awarded this bid. Now the cost is $1.425 million. The prices are not going down. Unfortunately, the current market is not stable. It is constantly increasing and changing. We originally projected that this would be about $900,000. We went out to bid and no one came out to bid. The second time around, we went out to bid and it was, for the whole entire package, $1.6 million. And so we're like, we want to really get this together for the students. And so 1.4 is for the playgrounds only. In your bid packet, you will see that there is a bid separate for package A, and it's running about $500,000 to like $900,000 just for the repair of the concrete and the asphalt at Maria Yates and Armstrong. And the reason why we didn't go forward with that is because that project has to wait until the weather breaks again, because we're not in a season where we can get that work done right now, because students are in session. The noise would be a disruption to the day. And so we wanted to push for getting the playgrounds taken care of so that they are able to use this equipment sooner than later, and rather it being on site in a container. We also have a recommendation for TRIA to not accept the alternate, and I believe the alternate is for the dates. We want to make sure that everything is done within this time frame, and so the substantial completion date for this project will be August 12th of 2023. Are there any questions regarding the bid?
Just for clarity, letter B is only to install the playground equipment, but there's no asphalt, there's no new concrete, no barriers, no anything. It's just going on top of what we already have.
No, this bid package B is to take care of all the work related to the playground.
Okay.
And so the ponding issue will be taken care of and resolved. So there will be minimal noise with this project versus tearing up the complete parking lot area and the curbs. It would cause a disruption to do the driveway area and the flow of traffic. We would not be able to really get that job done right now because school is in session. But this would take care of the playground project completely.
Can you clarify something? You said completion date August of 2023?
Yes.
Okay, so then when would the asphalt, driveways, all of that, when would that take place if it's happening after this?
The substantial completion date, if the board chooses to, and if you're speaking of the other bid package, if the board chooses to go that route, it would be August 23rd would be the substantial completion date for that project, but they can't start until school is out. So they would get started with that project once school ends. So if the last day of students' attendance would be just say, for example, June 1st, then they can start on June 2nd.
So both projects have a completion date of August 2023?
Yes.
Okay.
Questions related to the site project? Okay, it is on the agenda tonight for approval. I'll go forward to the STEM expenditures and BMO monthly expenditures are as presented in your board packet. And last but not least, we have our financials, the comparison of the fund balance by month and year comparison. And so we're comparing, now we're at July 2022 for this new school year, beginning balance of $38,776,100.10. Compared to last school year, in July, we had a beginning balance of $38,815,917.60. Beginning revenue for July of 2022, $1,138,397.87. Our July of 2021 revenue at this same time last year, was $500,688.25. Expense for July of 2022, $2,823,249.51. Last year, this same time, July, was $1,018,005.84. Ending fund balance for July of 2022, $37,091,248.46. The ending fund balance for July of 2021, $38,298,917.60. $600.01. Any questions regarding the fund balance comparison?
It's a difference of about $1 million. Is that payroll, is that STEM center?
This is the STEM Center. So last year in July, around this time, we hadn't begun to really start paying for the project because they had just started to break ground. So that's why there was not as much spent out in July of last school year versus July of this school year. We started the year paying some of the balance, and so we do still have a bit of a balance to go that once they give us possession, then we'll get our final bill. Any other questions regarding the fund balance?
Have we maximized the ESSER fund already with the way that the fund balance is going with the STEM center?
There was a small portion of ESSER funds allocated for this that have been depleted.
Okay.
Yes.
When you say small amount that was allocated for ESSER, what does that small amount look like?
It was an estimate of $300,000.
And for transparency, I think our community to know, we, as is presented, if you could just like give a brief overview, we spent this much, we've got this much to spend, and the total cost would be whatever, because the community is watching, and some of the things that we say and do here, we keep it on paper, and we just see it. They don't see it. And so some of the community members have stated that. Can you, we don't have it up on the board, so can you speak to it when we can't see it, when they can't see it?
One second. Okay, so the project beginning balance that was due for the project was $7.7 million. With the change orders and additional cost, the project went from the 7.7 to $7.9 million, of which the district has already taken care of $6,894,315.31. And we have a remaining balance of $1,042,904.99. $904.99 left to pay on the construction project. We have spent collectively all of the allowance that was built in. The allowance was $130,000 that was built into the cost, and so that allowance has been expended. And we also have the architect's
You
fees.
said that allowance, what allowance are you specifically referring to? The 100,000 is what?
So the project, when we go out to bid for major projects, there is an allowance built into it, which you set aside so many of those dollars for change orders that come through. And not necessarily contingency funds. So if the project costs $5 million, then included in that project, we could actually have $100,000 that's built in. So the project would really typically cost $400,000, and that $100,000 is for the allowance. It's for those change orders, the unforeseen things, and you want to have that built in, because otherwise you have to keep going back and saying, okay, here is something we didn't see. When you present the project, usually we already know there are unforeseen things that come up, and so we want to make sure we build that cushion in already up front. And then once it's expended, then we have to come to the board and ask for the board to approve any changeovers that are over that amount. And so the $130,000 built-in allowance of that $7.7 million, we have expended that estimate. do have good news. We did have the project for the flooring where we did not spend the allowance. So we are looking to receive $10,000 back on that project. So I'm happy that we didn't have to dip into that allowance there. And as far as the architect's cost, which is not included in the construction cost, we began with $765,771.67 that would be paid out to our architects for the project. They basically get 10%, it's almost 10% of the project's cost. And of that cost, we still currently owe $28,000 on that cost, which again, once possession is handed over to the district, then final bills come. But until then, we don't pay them for the complete project until we have the complete product. $28,088.20. Any other questions? Very well, thank you. Have a good night.
Now, that concludes the superintendent's report. Now we'll have audience to visitors, opportunity to address the board.
Dr. Bronson, we do not have any audience to visitors.
Thank you. And now we will move into closed session. Mrs. Morton.
All right, at this time, thank you all so much for attending our Board of Education meeting. We are looking to have more people in the audience and working on things to bring that to the forefront. But at this time, I'll make a motion to go into closed session for recess to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, collective negotiation, bargaining, and board self-evaluation. Motion.
Second.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. We will now go into closed session and we'll be back momentarily. All right, so we are now in open session. And I would like to make a motion so that we can approve our closed session. So motion to approve our consent agenda?
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so motion to approve the open and closed session minutes for the August 10th, 2022 meeting minutes, and motion to approve the accounts payable and payroll as follows. Payroll for August 12th, 2022 for $766,343.20. Payroll for August 26th, 2022, $849,307.75. Accounts payables through August 31st, 2022 in $1,012,680.62. Approval of the Supplemental Savings Program Adoption Resolution, TRS. Approval of Site Project Bid Award. Approval of the 8th grade Covenant Harbor. Approval of the Golden Apple Foundation. Approval of your Grow Your Own program. Approval of the Power School customization. Approval of Press Policy 109 final read. And approval of the Board of Education meeting date change till April 19th. Motion to approve? I didn't say yours. I didn't say yours. The educational picnic, I didn't mention that one. Okay. Yeah, we're voting with this is with inclusive of us paying. This is with us district paying. Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approval of the educational epiphany.
Motion.
Yes.
Yes.
We can find out from Chris if it motion passes. It's 3 yeses, 2 noes, and 1 abstain. So majority is still the yes. So I think motion still passed, but we'll confirm with Chris. Okay, so in that event, though, I would like to request that that company, or even if we have them come for the special meeting, if everyone's able to come Monday, and maybe give us a report, or he give us another update for it, because literacy is very important in our district.
They're out of Maryland, so I don't know if you can get here Monday.
Oh, okay.
Is there any way you can send like a demo or some type of video that we
Sure.
all, because I know that Mrs. Palmer sat in and watched and you know, saw what was catered to us. If we can get them to send that out to everyone, and then maybe we can revisit
Sure.
this on Monday.
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
I wouldn't bring it to you if I didn't recommend it. If I didn't 100% agree that this is going to be great for our district. But I can still give you everything that you want. Mrs. Palmer had the opportunity of seeing him and hearing the whole program, so we did bring him to the whole district for everyone to see. And the teachers are extremely important. They're excited and want to get started. But what's your question, Ms. Franklin? I'm sorry. Yes.
I don't want to be complaints, but
It's
they can't
okay.
hear. Okay, so it looks like we committed to 2 years,
Yes.
which is over 600,000. So it's 305,000 for the first year, 308,000 for the second year, and it was just such a brief overview that if we weren't there and privy to hear it, we're talking more than $500,000 that we would be committing to almost blindly. I want our kids to have whatever they need, just if we could get some more information.
Yeah, definitely. I can get you more information for sure.
And I did just go ahead and share the web page that they have for us.
Yes.
And I strongly stand behind you guys voting your conscience and things like that. I just want to make mention that sometimes we ask the superintendent to bring stuff that's based on her recommendation, so we may not per se have every person come in person. We just have to know that we hired her to do her due diligence to what she's bringing back and hold her accountable for it.
Okay, so having said that, does it have to be a 2-year commitment to make?
That's my recommendation, because in order for anything, actually 3 to 5 years is what you really need, but I said 2 years so that we can see it. Having that 2 years is really important, because all of this year really is the foundational training the teachers and getting it going, and then being able to have data, and then next year, how do we use that data to improve more? So we really do need the 2 years, and we're using grant money and Title I, so that's how it's being
That
paid
was
for.
going to be my next question.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'll change. I'll go from abstaining to yes.
We need to speak on first at the next meeting. So let's just redo that vote, just so it can be on the record. Motion to approval of the educational epiphany. Motion. Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve our certified personnel, Angie Moulton, retiring first grade at Mara Yates, effective June 3rd, 2022. Marshonda Reed, rescind offer for second grade teacher at Mara Yates, August 16, 2022. Alric Bailey, rescind offer for social studies teacher at Colin Powell Middle School, August 11, 2022. Marcellus Butler, hire human resource officer, district office, August 6, 2022. Therese Tyler, hire reading specialist, Woodgate, August 16, 2022. Rhonda Pedretti, transfer second grade teacher, Mara Yates, August 18, 2022. Monique Beret, hire computer keyboarding, Colin Powell, August 18, 2022. Denise Carter, hire sixth grade teacher, science, Colin Powell, September 14, 2022. Catherine Doherty, hire case manager, district office, September 14, 2022. Latanya Blackwell, hire long-term substitute, Neil Armstrong. Bridget Dancy, hire long-term substitute, Colin Powell. Leslie Jennings, hires long-term substitute teacher, Colin Powell. Linnell Lumpkins, hire long-term substitute, Colin Powell. Danielle Henry Walker, hire long-term substitute, Colin Powell. Kevin Neal, hire long-term substitute, Colin Powell. Sherry McDowell, hire long-term substitute, Mara Yates. And Katrina Grant hire cadre substitute teacher at Woodgate. Motion to approve?
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to approve support personnel, LaShonda Shepherd, resignation, administrative assistant to the executive director of business services and human resources. Wow. Sharaka Simmons, resignation, paraprofessional at Colin Powell. Charmaine Smiley, hire receptionist, HR assistant, district office. Tammy King, transfer building secretary, Colin Powell Middle School. Shelia Watson, hire instructional assistant at Woodgate. Latrice Stingley, hire instructional assistant, Colin Powell Middle School. Cameron Artis, hire instructional assistant, Colin Powell. Tracy Dodell, hire instructional assistant, Neil Armstrong. Shanice Griffin, hire for crossing guard as well as lunch attendant at Cedar Prairie. Elise Green, transfer lunch supervisor to Woodgate. Asia Dye, transfer lunchroom supervisor, Colin Powell Middle School. Christina Johnson, transfer lunchroom supervisor, Mara Yates. Brenda Womack, rescind offer for lunchroom attendant and crossing guard at Cedar Prairie. Lynette Cato, hire crossing guard and lunchroom attendant, Neil Armstrong. Aisha Smith, hire lunchroom attendant, Amara Yates. Tammy Miller Wilson, resignation, crossing guard at Cedar Prairie. Connie Sidnor, hire crossing guard at Cedar Prairie. Kareem Bishop Jr., hire custodian at Neil Armstrong. Brian Kirkland, hire custodian at Cedar Prairie. Dewan. Okay. Jeff Boyce, hire floating custodian at District Wide. Shanice Griffin, transfer custodian at Cedar Prairie. William Foster, rescind offer as building grounds manager at District Office. And Creighton Watt, rescind offer as buildings and grounds District Office. Motion to approve? Yes.
Yes.
That concludes our motion agenda. At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Thank you all so much.